Hello and welcome back to Socks and Sandals. And today I am going to do a tier list ranking all 100 of my full completions on Xbox. So, I recently completed Call of Duty Classic, and that marked my 100th full completion on Xbox. And if you don't know what a full completion is, it's something I call it it's like a platinum trophy but for Xbox. The only difference with Xbox like 100% achievement things is that in order for it to show up, especially on 360, in order for it to show up that you've got like all of the achievements for it, you also have to do DLC. So as opposed to a platinum trophy on PlayStation where the base game, when it's released, those are the only trophies that count towards a platinum. But as far as like on 360 and trueachievements.com, it only shows you in the 100% club if you get all of the achievements, including the ones for DLC. So that's what I mean by a full completion. But yeah, if you haven't seen the Call of Duty Classic video, you can go check that out now. It was a pretty decent full completion, I would say. But let's go ahead and rank these. So I'm going to rank these based on... I was actually going to change this 1 second. Okay, there we go. So I'm ranking these on difficulty, on how hard it is to get all of the achievements in that game. And then in each row, whatever's to the front here is going to be games I actually enjoyed playing, and then everything like to the tail end, like as it goes down, it's less fun. But let's get started. So all the games here they appear to be in alphabetical order, but I don't think that's true. I think it's no? I don't know what's going on here because AC/DC Live is here, there's BioShock, but then you got Deer Simulator. Well, I guess, but Borderlands 2. I really don't know what's going on. They're in alphabetical order in my file on the computer, but whatever. So first up, we have AC/DC Live Rock Band. This is just a DLC track pack for Rock Band, but on the 360, they released a few of these that were just like standalone discs, and each one came with their own achievements. I actually don't see it on here, but I also got all the achievements for the classic rock pack. Huh. I must have skipped over it. Whoops, I'm actually at 101. When you know it. Anyway, whatever. But, so this one I'm going to stick, I guess I'll put it challenging. And it's at the front because there's just nothing else. But you have to, there are a few you've got to play on expert, like guitar and drums. The last two achievements I needed was to start a 4-player band and get 100% expert vocals. The 4-player band, you just turn on each of your instruments and hit start, and you'll unlock that achievement. But the 100% vocals, you have to either be really good at it, or what I discovered to get the achievement is that there are like people who created beep tracks on YouTube that will just make a beep to the correct key of the song, and you can just hold the microphone up to a speaker and it'll basically sing the song for you. So that's what I did to get that final 100% vocal achievement. But as far as like the drums and the guitar, you have to be at least somewhat decent at the actual instruments to do that. So I'll put it in challenging. BioShock 2. I'll stick this easy. It doesn't show because I've got, and I'll do the other one as well, the remastered. I'm assuming this is the remastered here. I'll put it in easy. just because I'll put both of them in easy. Because they're the exact same achievement list. Well, actually, you know what? The original Bioshock 2 has the multiplayer. I'll stick that, and I prefer it over HDC Live. I'll stick that in challenging just because of the multiplayer. I remember the multiplayer maps DLC being really hard to get because the way matchmaking worked in Bioshock 2 was, in order for you to get the maps even in rotation, everybody in that lobby had to have purchased the DLC. So that's what was challenging. I ended up having to boost with a few people to get the final few maps I needed for that achievement. But as far as like, when they remastered it, they took out the multiplayer. So there are a few, like the Little Sister trials were kind of challenging, but not really. And then playing it on hard, but Bioshock 2 is a significantly easier game than the first Bioshock. But yeah, it's not too difficult of an achievement list. Bioshock, the original Bioshock 2 is harder, especially now. Trying to get all the achievements, getting the multiplayer achievements for Bioshock 2 now is probably nigh impossible, unless you can post about it on True Achievements, get some boosting going. But yep. Control. This is also an easy one. Man, do I like Control better than Bioshock 2? No. Control's a pretty easy one. I think the most frustrating achievements in Control were the one to have a Ranger kill 5 enemies and just like completing the I don't even remember what they were called, bureau alerts, I think. That was just like more annoying because some of the bureau alerts were really tedious and just not fun to do. Also, getting all of the vending machines kind of sucked, but it really wasn't challenging, especially the vending machines. It's just luck based. So you can get all of the vending machines your first go round, or you could be one of those people that runs around for 5 hours and doesn't encounter a single one. So, but I really wouldn't consider it challenging, but it's definitely not a kid's game, and it's definitely not a freebie. Bunch of easy ones here. Borderlands, the pre-sequel. This is the 360 version. I have an Achievement Hunters on this one. I have an Achievement Hunters on Control as well. And Bioshock 2, so the remastered. So if you want to check those out. The Borderlands games are pretty easy to get all the achievements. They are kind of tedious and grindy. The one I struggled with the most in the pre-sequel is to have, an Ascended Eternal or whatever, kill 3 of his allies. That one took me a minute to get. And then Nisha's skill kill achievement was a little struggling for me. But in general, it's a pretty easy full completion. You'll definitely want to, if you're going to do the 360 version, you can also get the Handsome Jack collection. Same achievement list, and it comes with the DLC already. But if you want to do the 360 version, you'll have to do that before July 28th or whatever, because that's when the store closes down. And the 360 version is not backwards compatible. So when the store closes down, the DLC for that will be lost forever. Firewatch. This is a freebie. You get most of the achievements in this game just playing it. There are a few missables, but if you follow a guide, you can get pretty much everything done in one playthrough. Firewatch was a pretty good game. I didn't want to play it because of, I can't remember the name of the studio that did this, but PewDiePie played Firewatch, and I think the developer boycotted him after that whole N-word fiasco, and I watched PewDiePie play it, so I never played Firewatch, but it was on Game Pass, and it's one of those easy full completions. So I decided this was when I didn't have a job, so I was like building up gamer score. This is when I was trying to get 200,000. That's when I played Firewatch. Batman Telltale, is this the first one? I think so. If I can find it. Yeah, here's the other one. I'm going to go ahead and just put both of these in the freebie. They're Telltale games. You get all of the achievements just for playing the game. They're not the best Telltale stories, but they're pretty okay. I do like Batman. I like the Batman universe, so I like them. You know what? I like them better than Firewatch. So let's do that. Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. This one is a pretty easy full completion as well. This is the DLC that came out before Dead Rising 2. It's like a little prequel thing. It's the only Dead Rising game I have all of the achievements in. And I think it only takes like one playthrough, and if you follow a guide, you can get everything done relatively quickly. But it's definitely not a kid's game, and it's not a freebie. You've got to just pay attention, really. Borderlands 3. I like it better than the pre-sequel. Borderlands 3, again, like I said, Borderlands games are pretty easy full completions. There's I cannot remember how many achievements. I have the full 0 to whatever achievement hunters for this one. It's my most popular video. But yeah. Borderlands 3, and I've told this story many times. I bought it on the Epic Games Store because all of my friends were like, hey, we're going to get Borderlands 3. We're all going to play it together, but we're getting it on the PC. Well, at the time, Borderlands 3 was a timed exclusive for the Epic Games Store on PC. So I bought it release day thinking we were all going to start playing it. And then they all copped out and didn't want to play it, making excuses that they prefer Steam and they didn't want to support the Epic Games Store. But they'd already talked me into getting it on PC because they said that's where they were going to play it. So I missed out on achievements first go around, but the Ultimate Edition was on sale for $6 on Xbox. I still then had to buy the Artist's Cut and the Director's Cut DLCs, I think for $15 each, which if you've seen the Borderlands 3 achievement hunters, you know how I felt about that. I feel like that's pretty scummy, because a lot of the stuff in those packs was just not even worth $15, but whatever. I needed all the achievements, so I had to pay it. But yeah, it's a pretty easy full completion. I think they have the Pandora's Box. I think it comes with all of it, and I think that one was recently on sale for $14, I think, which that's a pretty good deal, but I mean, I already own all of these and all of their DLCs, so not really for me. Dark Void, I am going to put this in challenging just because of the DLC. I think it's Mercenaries challenges or something like that. I cannot remember. Survivors challenges. There is one of the Survivors challenge where it's a score-based thing. A lot of the games that came out around the time Dark Void did liked to have kind of like Halo 3 ODST did the firefight mode, and then you've got Nazi zombies. Everything wanted to have a little just challenge thing. Rage had the Smash TV or whatever the fuck it was called. But the final little challenge map, I think you ended up having to get some in the millions score, and that just sucked. You got to play the game on hard and do all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, I did not enjoy Dark Void. I played this around the same time I played XCOM Declassified, and they're both touted as being bad games. So I enjoyed the Bureau XCOM Declassified, and we'll talk about it. Apparently, it's one of the last ones down there. I enjoyed that one. So when I started playing Dark Void, I was like, people say these bad games are bad, but I actually enjoyed Declassified, so I'll probably enjoy Dark Void. I did not. They were right about Dark Void. The flying is the main draw, and I didn't care for it. I hated it. It was really janky, but I'm gonna put Formula Bit Racing DX is what I think the full name of that is. I'm gonna put that in kids game. It's not really a freebie, but you get the achievements pretty easily. The reason I'm putting it in kids game is because the default way to play this is kind of like a top-down. It's one of those old school RC Pro-Am where you see the whole track and you just control your car from a top-down view. I could not, for the life of me, play the game in that view mode. I had to change it to behind the car, and I was able to actually play it. But in the default view mode, I couldn't do it. I could not win a single race that way. So that's why I'm putting in kids game. Once you change the camera, it's completely almost mindlessly easy. But if you want to play it the way it's supposed to be played, or the way that default it's supposed to be played, I couldn't do it. So Borderlands 1. It's a Game of the Year edition because it includes all the DLC. Again, I like Borderlands 1 better than Borderlands 3. What can I say? The hardest one, actually, is Mad Moxie's Underdome. Mad Moxie's Underdome sucked, and everybody that's played it knows that. Anybody that's gone for all of the achievements in Borderlands knows that Mad Moxie's Underdome is straight ass. But you know what? I guess for Mad Moxie's alone, I'll put it in challenging. Yeah, I like it better than those. I think that's the only Borderlands game that would really give any trouble as far as fully completing it. But Deer Simulator is it's a kids game. It's not really a kids game. It's a little too I'm just using kids game as a general term. It's not quite a freebie. You actually have to do stuff. But like I said, if you follow a guide on most of those that go in that, you could get all of the achievements fairly quickly. I think I got all of the achievements in Deer Simulator for 4 hours. And I like it better than Formula Bit Racing. I liked Deer Simulator. It's a weird, quirky game. It's just like Goat Simulator. It's in that same vein where nothing really makes sense, but it's easy for gamer score. Disney Universe. I'm going to put that in easy, despite it actually being a kid's game, because fully leveling up all of the character suits is quite a grind, and I don't think a kid is going to do that. But I did enjoy it. Let's see. I'll put it above pre-sequel. Yeah, that's really the only achievement I remember requiring me to do a lot. I think there's one to complete a level without dying as well. Um, and I just don't think that a kid's going to be able to do that. But again, I'm getting kind of lost in the sauce here. This doesn't really pertain to kids. Let's just say Disney Universe is a little more taxing than the two we have in kids' games right now. Also, can I change this? I cannot. Whatever. There we go. We'll just out of sight, out of mind, I guess. Borderlands 2. I'm just going to stop rehashing. I do like Borderlands 2 better than Borderlands 3, however. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. This one is an easy game, and I like it better than those. As long as you make sure you get all of the lore stones, they're pretty easy to find. I think I only missed 2 my first playthrough, so I had to replay it and go back to the get the ones I missed. But so you really don't even need to follow a guide for it, but everything else you get just from playing the game. The only missable achievement is the lore stones achievement. So as long as you keep a lookout for them, I'm not going to say follow a guide because that's not really necessary. They're kind of I'm not going to say they're on the beaten path, but Hellblade is kind of a linear game. So if there's a different path, go that way. It does pretty well in pointing you in the way it wants you to go. But if there is a split path, go that way, and there's more than likely a lore stone there. Call of Duty 2 is challenging. I like it better than Dark Void. This is... I'm not going to say it's the hardest Call of Duty game. I only have 2 Call of Duty games I have all of the achievements for. Well, technically. World at War, I have all of them except the one to get Prestige 10. But that one's 0 gamer score, but I still can't count it. Compared to World at War, Call of Duty 2 ain't shit. But in order to get all the achievements, you do have to beat it on Veteran, and it's not the easiest Veteran campaign, but it's certainly no World at War. But yeah, it is pretty challenging. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is also challenging. But you know what? I think I like Bloodstained better than Borderlands. Yeah, the most difficult achievement for me, anyways, in Bloodstained was to complete the item list and... I mean, completing the item list is probably the most challenging. No, it's... I think there's one for 100% as well. Which you have to fight all creatures, complete the item list, collect all items, like swords and stuff, all weapons. And that one's difficult because there are a few... Like, you've got to get all the crystal shards from enemies. And there are a few enemies that only spawn in, like, one specific location. So you have to keep farming them. And that just takes forever. And I think you've got to get, like, a bunch of money, too. But, yeah, that one was definitely the most challenging. I believe it's 100%. I think there's a separate achievement for each little list. Like, beating all the enemies, collecting all the shards, and then completing the item list. But I think there's one for doing all of that. BioShock. This is the remastered. And I'm going to put this in challenging, and it's definitely one of my favorite games. Where is the 360 version? Here it is. And they're both pretty challenging. The original BioShock, the Brass Balls achievement, obviously beating it on hard without using a Vita chamber is the most difficult. There is actually a cheat for it where this is the way I got the achievement. I'm not saying I'm proud. I could do it now, but when I was a kid, when this game came out, what you could do is play through the game on easy, and at the final boss fight when you beat Fontaine, pause, change the difficulty to hard, and then you'll unlock the Brass Balls achievement. You still have to do it without dying. You turn the Vita chambers off and make sure you save often. But the BioShock Remastered, I'm going to say, is harder. You know what? And because of the exploit, I'm actually going to move it down. Such an exploit is not in the remastered version. But what the remastered version does for the Brass Balls is it includes the DLC that was exclusive to PlayStation. So you got the Worlds of Hurt, little challenge rooms in that, but you also have the impossible difficulty. But what they did for the remastered version is you can use New Game Plus for your impossible playthrough, and then do that. And you have to do the impossible playthrough to get Brass Balls because that's the hardest difficulty. But yeah, you can use New Game Plus, so you start off at, the beginning of the game with your best loadout. So that kind of trivializes it. But the Worlds of Hurt challenges, a few of those were really hard. Like, I think there's a time, like a speed run achievement for each little area, and the final area was really difficult for me to get the speed run in, but I was finally able to do it for the remastered version. So, yep, that's why that one's in challenging. Banjo-Kazooie, I'm going to put in kids game because it's a collect-a-thon. I should have had the full completion for this game probably like 14 years ago when I originally played it. But there was a glitch in it. So the last achievement I needed was getting all of the musical notes. And there's a glitch in this game where if you do it's a puzzle in Banjo's house. If you do the Click Clock Wood puzzle in Banjo's house before getting all of the notes, the game because Banjo collects a note in that puzzle, and the game thinks you collect it, and it'll just delete it from the world, but you'll only have 99 notes for that level, and you have to replay the entire game again in order to get all of the notes. So that's what happened to me. So I recently, I think like it was either last year or the year before last, went ahead and did that and got all of the notes so I can fully complete Banjo-Kazooie on the Xbox 360. Bully Scholarship Edition. I love this game. This one is a fantastic game. I really wish Rockstar would either remaster this one or give us Bully 2, but that's probably never going to happen. The hardest achievement in this one is, I think it's like 100 bottles. It's either 100 or 500. It's a large number of bottles the game wants you to break, and the only place that it counts when you break bottles is the shooting range at the carnival. And it's just a lot of grinding to break all those bottles. I believe that was the last achievement I needed for this game, but yeah, that's really the only challenging one. Everything else is pretty simple to do, from what I can remember anyways. I played this game decades ago, so Eat lead. This one I'm also going to stick in easy. Man, I like Eat Lead, but I'll stick it there. You know what? I think I like Borderlands 3 more than Eat Lead. The hardest achievement in Eat Lead, for me anyways, was killing 3 of the game testers at the end of the game with 1 grenade. I don't know. I feel like, and I have achievement hunters on this as well. I feel like I should have gotten it a few times, but for whatever reason it didn't count. And the one time I popped the achievement, I used 2 separate grenades. Like 1 grenade killed 1 person and another grenade killed 2 at the same time. So I don't know what happened, but I struggled on that achievement for a minute. But that's definitely the hardest one. Everything else is fairly simple. Alien Hominid HD. See, this one, I have no recollection of how difficult the full completion is. I did it so long ago. I liked Alien Hominid. Alien, like the character, the alien in this game. I liked it so much, I often just draw him. And it's stuck with me since I played this. But it's like a side-scrolling beat-em-up, I guess, is what this would be classified. It's a challenging game, but I don't remember how hard the achievements were. So that's a dilemma. I'm just going to stick it in challenging just because I do remember the game being kind of hard. But, yeah. Other than that, I cannot remember how hard those achievements were. Despite this being a kid's game, it's not really that difficult of a full completion. Most of the Lego games, they're just kind of grindy, like getting all of the fucking mini kits and shit and all of the studs in a level. It's part of the reason why I don't play Lego games anymore, is just because it's like mindless nonsense. I like Batman, and I used to like the Lego Batman games, but I tried last year to go back and get all of the achievements in the first Lego Batman, and I just couldn't do it. I just have zero interest in doing that. But that being said, it's a pretty easy full completion. I don't remember hardly anything about Lego Batman 2. I think there was a stage where you were in a garden maze and fighting Catwoman on a motorcycle. I think that's this game. I can be wrong, though. I don't know. Goosebumps the game. This is... I'll stick it in kids' game, but I like it better than Deer Simulator and Formula Bit. This is a point-and-click game. I think the hardest achievement in it is to keep every item that you can pick up. Or I think it's like pick up every item in the game. And there are 3 items that you can only get from tossing like random stuff into the laundry chute. Like it's a random item that will come out. There are 3 different items you can get. So you have to just constantly be throwing, like you'll save, throw an item into the laundry chute. If a different item doesn't come out, you have to reload the save. That's the way you can like farm that. But, yeah, that was probably the most difficult achievement. Everything else is like for playing the game. I think you get 1 for dying. And it's a pretty fun game. I like Goosebumps, so it's kind of cool to see a lot of like the book characters come to life and stuff. But, yeah, it's not really that hard. I do believe a child could do it. Life is Strange Before the Storm. I'm going to put it in kids game. Yeah, I think I like it better than Deer Simulator. The hardest achievement is getting all of the graffiti But again, if you follow a guide, you can do that in a single playthrough. But yeah, the rest of the stuff is just obtained from just playing the game. So, nothing too bad there. Legendary. Man. I'm going to put this challenging. And it's definitely the game I like the least in that section. It's challenging because the servers are completely dead for this, and it has multiplayer. The only reason I have this full completion is because I own 8 Xbox 360s, and I bought 8 copies of this game. And unless you want to do that to farm the 200 multiplayer matches, which glitched on me, and I think I ended up playing like 399 multiplayer matches before the achievement popped. Also an achievement hunters on that one as well. Yeah, unless you want to do that and suffer through all of that, it's a challenging one. So with the single player, you've got to beat it on hard. You actually have to do 3 separate playthroughs because the difficulty achievements don't stack. So that sucks. And then, of course, you've got all of the multiplayer achievements. There's one to win 50 matches. There's one to play 200. Yeah, I would say it's a challenging full completion, especially now. You might be able to post something on True Achievements and get 7 other people to play it with you, but that's not likely. Left 4 Dead 2. I'm going to put this one in hard. This will be our first hard one just because of the real deal achievement for beating a campaign on expert with realism mode turned on. There are also a bunch of multiplayer achievements. I mean, it's a multiplayer game, but like the scavenger stuff, and I think the versus mode, those are really hard to do just because a lot of it you're not going to get, like, people aren't playing the versus mode anymore, so it's just hard to get a lobby. This is another game that I bought seven other copies for. Already had the 360s, and I just had people boost it with me. So that's why I have it. But I did have to legitimately play the expert realism. Whoever I played it with, he carried me the whole time. I'm not going to act like, I actually contributed anything. But, yeah, that expert realism is a fucker. Dishonored Death of the Outsider. I have an achievement hunters on this one as well, but this one's a pretty easy full completion. Out of all of the Dishonored games, this one's probably the easiest to get all of the achievements in. Where would I put it, though? I'll probably stick it between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. Yeah, it's a fairly simple, easy completion. You do have to do 2 playthroughs or make a save at the end and reload it. For whatever reason I didn't, or I think there was some reason. Oh, yeah, you do have to do 2 playthroughs anyways, because there's there's 2 to get the different endings, and then there's another one to play through the game with like classic abilities, which is basically you play through with Corvo's abilities. So you've got to do 2 playthroughs anyways. You might as well save one of those endings for that other playthrough. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward achievement list. You've, of course, got the one to beat it without being caught, but you can scum save for that. Call of Duty Classic. I am going to put in challenging, and I'll say I like it better than Call of Duty 2. This is the one we just completed, our most recent achievement hunters. The expert campaign for this is bullshit at times. The most frustrating thing is the save system in this game. Sometimes you'll get a checkpoint and sometimes you won't. I really still don't know the proper triggers for a lot of the checkpoints in this game. Sometimes it seems that you've got to be in the exact right spot to trigger a checkpoint. Other times you may need like allies with you, or I don't know, beat the stage in a certain amount of time that is unbeknownst to you. It was just mind-numbingly frustrating at sometimes not how long it would take me to get a checkpoint. But yeah. Duke Nukem Forever. I'm going to put this in easy, and I'm going to say I like it better than Eat Lead. I actually like Duke Nukem Forever. I think the hardest achievement in this game is getting the 1,000,000 points in the pinball game. Difficulty achievements stack, so you can play your first playthrough on hard. I believe they stack. I might be wrong. You may have to do 3 separate playthroughs. I think I triggered a memory in that. I can't remember if they stack, but I do remember being frustrated with the pinball mini game, trying to get them 1,000,000 points. But other than that, I think this one's also backwards compatible on the Series X, so you can still buy the DLC even after the store shuts down. And Call of Duty Classic as well, unless they add it, because Microsoft now owns Activision. As of right now, the only way you could play Call of Duty Classic is on the 360. So you'll want to buy that before the store shuts down. But I do believe Duke Nukem Forever is backwards compatible. So you'll be able to play the DLC for that. Lollipop Chainsaw is challenging. And I'll say I like it better than Alien Hominid. The hardest achievement is, I can't remember which stage, but it's the one where you're having to ride the, I'm just going to call it an elevator. I don't think it's an elevator. I think it's like a window washer thing. Up the building without being hit and without firing. I spent, I'm just going to say hours on it. I don't know if that's true. It definitely felt like hours at the time. The song that plays there was like ingrained in my memory. I've since forgotten it. I believe it's the Human Beings Empire City Human, or Empire Human. I think it's the tall, I want to be tall as a wall, tall as a wall. That one. That's the song that plays during that bit. But yeah, I remember Chase and Seth were over, and we were taking turns to see who could actually get up the building without... who would actually get up the building and get the achievement. It was one of those, like, formative memories of mine. So that's probably why I like Lollipop Chainsaw so much. But yeah, it's definitely a challenging one. You've also got to beat it on hard and get, like, you've got to encounter all of the zombies. You've got to level Juliet fully up. All of that stuff. So it's definitely not the easiest game. Fallout 3, I will say, is easy, and I like it better than Borderlands 2. Yeah, like, I think the most difficult achievements in Fallout 3 are the different, like, karma system achievements. You've just got to, like, have strategic saves so you can get these relatively easy without having to do 3 different playthroughs on the full karma thing. But yeah, that's probably the hardest one. DLCs are pretty simple. I believe this one is also backwards compatible on the Series X. So you'll still be able to get the DLC. So no rush on that one. Lollipop Chainsaw, well, I mean, it's gone up in price. There isn't any DLC for it, so. Life is Strange True Colors. I'm going to put this in... I'll put it in kids game because it's not really a freebie. This is probably like the first Life is Strange game that the missable achievements aren't just like collectibles. Like there's like specific stuff you have to actually do. But if you follow a guide, you can do it in like one playthrough. But it is like one of my favorite Life is Strange games. It doesn't quite beat out the first Life is Strange, but I liked it better than Life is Strange 2 and Life is Strange Before the Storm. Life is Strange True Colors was a fantastic game. Yeah. That's all I got to say about that. Monster High New Ghoul in School. This is a kid's game, and this may shock some people, but it was halfway decent. The hardest achievement is getting all of the clothes in the game. I had 2 achievements left to get all achievements and to get all of the clothes. The clothes one actually was my last one. I unlocked the obtain all achievements first. I don't know why it popped first. I still had several outfits left to get, but I'll say I liked Monster High enough to want to watch the show. Just like because I don't know who any of the characters are. When you're playing the game, it expects you to know who all these people are, and it was just weird, but it got me intrigued enough to at least consider watching the show. I haven't watched any of it yet, but I am considering it. Beacon Pines is probably like my favorite sleeper hit. Like nobody talks about this game, but this game is fantastic. It's not a kid's game. It does have adult themes in it, but it's a pretty easy completion, especially if you follow a guide. But it is fantastic. Love the art style. I love the story. I love the characters. It is a really good game. Definitely one more people should talk about. But yeah, it's fairly simple to get all the achievements. I wouldn't quite say it's a freebie. There are missable ones and like different ending achievements, but it's pretty simple if you follow a guide. Murdered Soul Suspect. This is the 360 version, not the Xbox One. This is one I haven't double stacked on just because I don't really care to. I like Murdered Soul Suspect. I like detective investigative games. But this one's a huge collectathon. Granted, some of the collectibles are ghost stories, which I also really enjoy. But there is just like tons of collectibles in this game. And that's really all it is. Like most of the achievements are based around collectibles. The game's not really that difficult. You don't have to play it on a specific difficulty or anything. You don't have to do it without dying. It's just all of the collectibles is probably the hardest part. You definitely have to follow a guide because there's like, I don't know, 200 of them. So, yeah. Duke Nukem. This is Duke Nukem 3D World Tour. This one is a freebie because you can turn no clip on and basically like just go through the entire game, not even playing any of the levels. You can go straight through the wall to the end point. And you can do that through like the whole game. I think the only time you actually have to play the stage is I think it's when it's one of the newest levels, the World Tour level, where you're in Germany, and there's a specific thing you have to do. There's like some dude that's like shrinking, and I think you have to kill him while he's small. I think it's called like Fly Swatter or something. But yeah, that's really the only one that I remember not being able to do using the cheats. So, No Thing is also a freebie. I think this is one of the fastest full completions I got. You can basically I think oh man. I can't remember the trick to this one, but I think it's like if you walk off the stage and hold RT or something, it skips the level, and you can just do that all the way to the end of the game and unlock all of the achievements. I think there's only one where you have to spend like a certain amount of time on a level or something. I think the developer just did that to pad out their playtime, to make it seem like people were actually playing the game. So, or I think it was like 500 tries on one level or something like that. So you had to just keep walking off the edge, and that's the longest achievement. But it's a game that I bought, I was trying to get to 200,000. I believe there's only 2 on here that nope, 3 that I paid money for just for gamer score. And there wasn't really a lot of substance to them. But Forza Horizon 5, I am also putting in hard. Just because of the winning the... It's Forza's Battle Royale mode. That one is definitely the hardest achievement in the game. Just because... I don't know how hard it is now. There's probably less people playing it. But... you have to be the winner of the you got to be, what is it, chicken winner chicken dinner. You've got to be the one to win, and it's a luck of the draw on what car you get and where it puts the the finish line at the end. I got completely lucky when I got that achievement, and I'm so glad I did, because that was the last achievement I needed for the game. So it's definitely a difficult one. Lost Via Damas is supposed to be a easy gamer score, but the game is so jank that it works against you. And it's the worst one for this. I think I got all of the achievements in this game in one night, but the spot where you're having to run from the smoke monster was just too frustrating. And when you're having to run through the caves, that part sucked too. There's just like too much jank in this game. There's also a part at the end where you have to shoot some dude in the head, and he's like no scoping you, and you only have like 3 seconds to actually get the shot off, and he just instantly kills you. It's too janky for its own good. But if you follow a guide, you can get all of the missable achievements if you can suffer through the game itself. But I really don't think it's worth doing that. Fallout New Vegas is an easy one, and I'm going to put it right there. I absolutely love Fallout New Vegas. Best Fallout. But its achievements are relatively easy. The hardest one is probably beating the Blood Money DLC, and getting kicked out of the casinos, winning a certain amount of caps in each casino in order to like get kicked out. That one just sucks because it's luck of the draw. You know, you're playing poker. So, yeah, that's that. Night at the Museum is also a kid's game, but it is a pretty fun movie tie-in game. This is another one that I got all of the achievements in one evening. Um, yeah, but it's not too hard. If you follow a guide, you can get all of them in a single playthrough. Saints Row the Third. Let's see. I really like Saints Row the Third. I think the hardest achievements, from what I can remember, again, this has been a long time since I got all the achievements in Saints Row the Third, were the Genki challenges. Those were definitely the hardest. Just had to make sure I was still recording, or that I'd started recording. But yeah, the Genki challenges were definitely the hardest. Again, it's that score-based stuff that everything was doing around this time. But it's probably the easiest Saints Row to get all the achievements for. Pimp My Ride, in the same vein as Lost Viadamus, is challenging just because the game is janky. The achievement I struggled with the most is, I think, it's to take down 20 of the RPM vehicles. And the reason it was challenging is because if you don't take down the vehicle within a certain time, the vehicle just leaves. And you're fighting the game's controls and everything janky about it. But it's also kind of hard to get perfect on a few of the stages. But I can see it being a pretty enjoyable game if you're not going for the full completion. I think I said that. There's also an achievement hunters on that one as well. But yeah, it's definitely a janky, challenging mess. Lego Batman 3. Kids game, and I think I like it. You know what? I like it less than Deer Simulator. Yeah, this one actually has DLC for it. I think it is backwards compatible on the Series X, so the DLC should still be obtainable. But yeah, it's, again, more Lego stuff. Rockman 2, I'm going to put into hard, and this one's, I think I like Left 4 Dead 2 and Forza Horizon 5 better. That does not mean that these, Rockman 2 is worse than these games. These are, top tier games for me. I spent so much time with Rockman 2. But getting the Bladder of Steel achievement, which is to beat the endless set list without pausing. There's a lot of expert. The final 4 achievements I needed for this game were to complete all of the beats. But yeah, a lot of the achievements in this are hard. You've got to play it on expert. You've just got to be good at Rock Band. So there is a lot of skill involved with the Rock Band 2 full completion. Even though I cheated with the beats and had Nathan play the foot pedal on 2 of them, everything else I did legitimately. So fight me. Super Weekend Mode is another gimme. You don't even have to beat the whole game to get all of these. I think it gives you all of the achievements. It gives your last achievement, I think. I don't remember what level it was on. It was level 5 or something. And I don't even remember what this game is about. But I do remember I bought it because of the cute anime girl on the cover. I didn't know it was an easy full completion. So when I played to the certain level and obtained the last achievement I needed, I was kind of shocked. But I wasn't going to... Why does this have Fallout 3 in the corner of it? I wasn't going to complain about free gamer score. So, well, not free because I paid for the game, but easy gamer score. Fallout 4. Oh goddamn. This one is challenging only to me because I absolutely hate base building. I cannot stand the crafting base building nonsense, and so much of Fallout 4 focuses around that. So I'm going to, this is my tier list. I'm going to put it in challenging just for that. I'm not going to say I hate it more than those, because that's bad. I think from here up are games I actually enjoyed playing. Which sucks, is because I put so much time into Fallout 4. The base building ruins this game for me. Plus the endings suck. Like you go from New Vegas, like literal perfection, to Fallout 4, where your choices matter and there's several different endings you can get. The factions are actually different. And then to this, where the ending is just like one little bit of different dialogue. Oh my god. And then, like I said, the base building sucks. The DLC for this game sucks. There's only 2 actual, like, world building DLC. Everything else is fucking crafting bullshit. And then Nuka World is a wasted opportunity because it's like there's no actual missions in Nuka World. It's like Preston Garvey shit. God. I think I would actually put Fallout 76 over Fallout 4 now. But it's not on this list because I don't have all of the achievements for 76. Dash of Destruction is another freebie, but I do remember it being an actual good game. It's also free. This is another one of those games that you'll want to download before the end of July because it's only on Xbox 360. It may not be available anymore because it was a licensed game, so you may not even be able to get it. So never mind. Forget that. But yeah, it's Doritos Dash of Destruction. There are a few Doritos games that Doritos did. Harm's Way is also on here. And I believe Crash Course is also a Doritos game. They were free games that came out licensed by Doritos. They contained Doritos imagery, but they were actually decent games, and it appealed to the gamer score people because they were mostly easy completions. Crash Course was kind of a difficult one, but had some free gamer score in it at least. Tales from the Borderlands. It's a freebie. It's a Telltale game, but it is a really good Telltale game. It's in the Borderlands universe, so I really enjoyed that. But yeah, you get all of the achievements just from playing it. Just from beating the story. Reactor X. It's a kid's game. I'm not going to say it's a freebie. You actually have to play the game. But if you follow a guide, it gives you all of the solutions to the puzzles. And it's like 5,000 gamer score now. So it may be more. I don't know. They like to release title updates for these games so that people keep coming back. Yeah, if you follow a guide, you've got the solutions. I played through a majority of the game without using a guide and then was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm only doing this for the gamer score. So what do I have to prove to anybody? But I would say it's worse than all of these. It's not a very fun game. Portal 2, on the other hand, I am going to put it in easy. It is one of my favorite games. I think it is backwards compatible, but I think the hardest achievement is to complete the training mode, like the co-op training mode, with I think it's a person on your friends list who hasn't done it yet. And the way I obtained that is, this was back when I was, I may have been out of high school or I may have been a senior in high school, but I didn't have a job. So what I ended up doing was using my brother's Xbox 360. I made an account. Actually, I don't even think it had to be a friend. It just had to be someone who hasn't completed the training mode yet. So I made a new account. And back then, making a new account gave that person free 48 hours of gold. So when I did that, I had to then, I think I bought I think it was like a month subscription of Xbox Live Gold or something. I think it was like $9.99, so it was probably the month. I bought that, and then I went to Family Video and rented another copy of Portal 2. And I didn't even get someone else to do it with me. I ran back and forth from my room completing the first puzzle and got the achievement. It's one of my most proud achievements just because of the way I did it. Yeah, I had to spend money, and that's kind of scummy for like numbers on an account. But, that's what I'm about. So, and it's something I'll probably remember till the day I die. But LA Noire. I think the hardest thing about LA Noire is getting 5 stars on all of the cases. But if you follow a guide, it's pretty easy. The question is, where do I put it on my likability ranking here? Do I like it better than BioShock 2? Yes. I loved LA Noire. It's a shame that Team Bondi closed down and we'll probably never get a game like this. But I loved LA Noire. Again, I like the investigative stuff, being a detective, all that good stuff. Plus, it's set in like, what year was it? Was it the 40s? It's either 40s or 50s. I think it's 40s. So it's a period piece, and I like that stuff. Beatles Rock Band is also challenging. I think I like Beatles Rock Band than Forza Horizon 5. You know what? I like it better than Left 4 Dead 2. I love the Beatles, and I like Rock Band. Well, not challenging. This one's hard. Because you've got to be like good at the guitar, drums, and everything. There's a few songs that want you to hit all of the hammer-ons and pull-offs. The gold for the Beatles Rock Band in particular, like getting gold stars, is very tight. Like, you have to basically go into star power at specific points in the song. You can't miss any notes. You got to make sure you've got the sustained note held as far as it'll go. Don't release it early to get as many points as you can to get that gold star. I remember like a few songs, like practicing for hours, like Octopus's Garden. I would practice that for hours trying to get all the hammer-ons and pull-offs. And when I finally did, it was like the most satisfying feeling ever. Especially with, what is the song? Dig a Pony. Getting all the hammer-ons and pull-offs in that song. Man, I cannot tell you how long I practiced that song to do that. But I am glad to have Beatles Rock Band on my full completion. It's only, counting AC/DC Live Rock Band pack there, it's the third Rock Band, but only the second full Rock Band game that I have all the achievements. I would like to do Rock Band 4, but I don't feel like paying $400 for the Legacy adapter. Stray is another really good game, and not just because I love cats, but a good game in its own right. It is kind of easy. The hardest one is completing, I think it's like the first level. It's either the first or second level. It's your first encounter with the the little alien creatures, the little mutants. You have to do that without getting pounced by them. And I think that was my second to last achievement I needed. And I remember struggling on it for a little bit. But other than that, the game's a pretty easy full completion. I barely needed to find a guide. I think there were like 3 collectibles I had to look up. A lot of the collectibles will show like a static, like an image that's got static all over it. And if you pay close enough attention, you can kind of figure out where that area is. There were just a few that I needed help locating. But other than the mutant avoiding achievement, it's a pretty easy completion. DC's League of Super Pets is a kid's game. The hardest achievement in this one is actually completing a stage without killing any enemies, just because like avoiding them is the difficult part. It's an auto like scrolling thing. It's like an on rails, I guess, shoot 'em up is what it would be classified as. And there are points like when going for that achievement where it's just really hard to avoid an enemy, and if you hit them, it kills them. So you have to restart the level. That was the only one I struggled with in that game. It's not a good game. It was on Game Pass. I don't know if it is still, but yeah. Skate 3, I'm putting in challenging because of the online achievements. Yeah, I'd say I like it better than Alien Hominid. I like the skate games. This game's online got shut down until last year. I don't know if it's still up, or it might have been this year sometime. Yeah, it was this year. I got the full completion this year. They brought it back up for whatever reason, but getting I think playing in a lobby with 6 other people was just really difficult because nobody was playing the game, and trying to, like, I did a post on Xbox asking for people to help, and I don't understand the reason why, but there are a lot of kids playing this game, and, you know, children just have the, like, mental capacity of a damn fruit fly. They can't sit still for any number of minutes, so waiting for someone else, and they're gone. So it was just really hard getting the right amount of people in the lobby. I think the multiplayer is the hardest part of this game, of Skate 3. Everything else, you know, getting, like, killing a lot of the challenges. I mean, once you get good at Skate, it's fairly simple. But you do have to be good at Skate. So that's why I'm sticking it in challenging. Max and the Curse of Brotherhood is supposed to be an easy completion, but I struggled with this game. It's one of those trial and error games, kind of like, was it Dragon's Lair, and Space Ace, where you don't know something's going to kill you until it does, and then you've just got to keep playing the game like that. And that's what was frustrating about this, is there were a few achievements that you had to beat a level without dying. You had to get collectibles. There were speed run achievements, and it was just like a super frustrating time, in my opinion. Other people may have had no issues with it, but I have it's not really an achievement hunters on this one. I have a video like showcasing some of the bullshit moments from this game. My Big Sister, I do not remember a lot about. It is a freebie. I did remember enjoying the game. I think I got all of the achievements in a single playthrough within like 6 hours. It's like one of those, It came out around the same time as Corpse Party. It's kind of done in that same art style of the, like, what the hell is that thing called? Oh, man. I can't remember. Damn. It's like some game you used to be able to get on PS2 where you, like, made your own game, is what the art style is. It's what Corpse Party was made in. But, yeah, it's that same sort of, like, 8-bit art style. It's a horror game. Yeah, I don't remember a lot about it, but I do remember it being a pretty easy completion, and I did it fairly quickly. Resident Evil Village, on the other hand, at least when I did it, was a pretty difficult full completion. It is one of my favorite games. It is my favorite Resident Evil. Originally, getting the... I think you just had to do S. Getting the S rank in the Mercenaries mode was really difficult. Now, if you play as Chris, apparently from what I've heard, I haven't done it because I did it before the Shadows of Rose DLC came out. So I have no idea how easy it is with Chris, but from what I've heard, it's a lot easier with Chris to get the S ranks. But when I did it in the original form, and it was one of the things I struggled with the most. I loved Resident Evil Village. I played through the game like 8 times. An extra time because I fucked up at the end. I was doing complete the entire game using the knife. And I failed to realize that using the like orbital strike thing that Chris has counts as a weapon. I didn't know you could beat those sections with the knife. I thought you had to use that, but you can beat those enemies with a knife. Yeah, the Mercenaries was definitely the hardest part. The Shadows of Rose DLC, beating that on, I think it's just hard. I don't think it's Madhouse in Village. I think that's strictly Resident Evil 7. But beating the Shadows of Rose DLC on hard was kind of frustrating as well. It actually kind of ruined that DLC for me. But, yeah. Village is definitely a hard full completion, at least when I played it. From my experience, and that's what this list is based off of, Resident Evil Village was a hard completion. The Wolf Among Us is another freebie. It's probably one of my favorite Telltale games. Obviously, I don't like it as much as Tales from the Borderlands. And there's another one on here, this one right here, that will take the first spot. But you do get all of the achievements just from beating the game. The Raven, I'm going to do easy. And it's going to go... It'll go above Duke Nukem Forever. It's another... you play as a detective, so it is an investigative game. It's a point-and-click, like, adventure game. It's got a few missable achievements, like you've got to do specific things. But again, if you follow a guide, it's a pretty easy completion. I knew nothing about this game. I found it at Game Exchange, picked it up, thoroughly enjoyed it. Toy Story 3. We'll put it here. It is, in fact, a kid's game, but the hardest achievement is, I think, the Sneaky, I think is what it's called. It's to complete, I don't remember what level it's called, but you have to do that without getting spotted. And I remember struggling with that for a little while. Everything else is pretty doable. There's another one to like complete all of the challenges in the toy box mode. I don't really remember struggling with that. I did watch a YouTuber recently that said that this is one of the games they gave up getting all of the trophies on. I don't know, but yeah, different strokes for different folks. Whispering Willows, I'm going to say, is a freebie. I'll put it I like Whispering Willows, so I'll put it there. If you follow a guide, you can get all of them. What I didn't do is follow a guide, and there was an achievement. Only one achievement I missed, and in order to get it, I would have had to play halfway back through the game again to get it. But most of the collectibles are in your path, except for the one I missed. So that's why it's in freebie. You do have to go out of your way to find specific things to get the missable achievements. But I only missed one while doing my blind playthrough. So it's really not that hard. Whatever. Tomb Raider Legend, I will put into challenging. I'll put it behind Call of Duty 2. This is backwards compatible, so you can still buy the DLC on the Series X when the 360 shuts down. I have an Achievement Hunters on this. The reason I'm putting it in challenging is, for whatever reason, when I played it on the Series X, and maybe you shouldn't play it on the Series X. If you still have an Xbox One, probably play it there. Because I think that may have been why I was experiencing issues with it. When I started the Anniversary DLC, for whatever reason, the game just took a big shit. It wouldn't load a lot of the textures. There was just graphical issues, but whenever I died, the loading screen to load back into the level was suddenly 3 fucking minutes long. And that happened every time I died. And you had to play the game on hard, and it's not the best controlling platformer. It's still that Uncharted, janky, where sometimes holding a direction didn't work. And Laura just didn't jump where you wanted her to. She would just take a flying leap backwards and die. So that's why I put it in challenging. It's just for that. And it damn near ruined my experience with the game. I don't know what the fuck happened. But if you are going to go for the full completion, probably play it either on the 360. If you're going to do that, buy the DLC before the store closes. Play it on the Xbox One. I think the Series X was just trying to load the game too fast, and it just couldn't handle it. I think I also experienced that with Battlefield 4, because I had issues with that game too. Telltale's The Walking Dead Episode 1. It is a freebie. You get all of them from playing the game, but it is a fantastic story. Fantastic story. Nearly everyone's probably played The Walking Dead by now, but if you haven't, highly recommend The Walking Dead. You can play it on the 360 or the Xbox One. They've got the full package that you can get that's got all the episodes. Yeah. But I really think the first episode, or the first little season, is really the only one worth playing. Trials HD, I am going to put into hard. And it is behind Rock Band 2, but that does not mean I hate Trials HD. I just like it less than these. Basically, if it's going to go up in the hard, I have to really like the game to get all the achievements, is what I'm going to say up here. Trials HD, you have to get really good at Trials. It has it's got the Inferno track. Just playing Trials, you have to be good at it to get all the achievements. That's just the bottom line. Is you just got to understand the mechanics fully to get all of them. But I have an Achievement Hunters on this one as well. So check it out if you would like. Mafia 2. Dilemma here. I'm going to say I like Mafia 2 better than Stray. Love Mafia 2. It's one of my favorite games. Vito Scaletta is my boy. It's not really a hard completion. The DLC, I think Jimmy's Vendetta is probably the hardest thing in the game. Just like getting I think you've got to drive 1,000 miles in the game. I remember every time I came home from school for whatever amount of time it took me to do it, I would drive a loop around the map for an hour until finally I got the 1,000 miles in the game. It may have been 500 miles. It was a lot of miles for the game. I'll just say that. But that was probably the hardest achievement in the game, was doing that. This one's also backwards compatible. It also has the remastered version, which I didn't bother getting because I had the original Mafia 2, and apparently the remastered was kind of buggy when it originally launched. But yeah, there are ways to play it. So if you want to go for the full completion in Mafia 2, which I do recommend, it's easily obtainable. WALL-E. Now, I love WALL-E. WALL-E is my favorite Pixar movie. So that is why I'm going to be putting it up in here somewhere. We'll stick it behind Borderlands 2. The hardest achievement in WALL-E, I can't remember which level it is, but it's the level that you have to shoot trash. And there are achievements in the game to complete every level. Like, you get an achievement for completing each level without dying or being scrapped, I think is what they call it. And if you miss one of the trash cubes in that level, or hell, it may have been a specific achievement to shoot all of the trash. It was something involving the trash was what I was struggling with, and that was the hardest achievement to get. I don't know if it counted as dying if you missed one of the pieces of trash, or if you specifically had to shoot all of the trash to get an achievement. But whatever the case may be, that one's the hardest. Disney Pixar's Up. I'll put it in kids game, and I'll stick it here. There was a time where I was trying to get all of the achievements in all of the Pixar games. I did Toy Story 3, WALL-E, Up, and I believe that's it as far as Pixar. But yeah, Up's a pretty easy game, especially if you follow a guide. I did not, and there was like one collectible I missed, and I basically had to play through the whole game again to find the one collectible I missed. But other than that, if you follow a guide, it's pretty simple. The Godfather 2. Now, I don't remember a lot about this game, but I do remember it being a pretty easy full completion. I do also remember enjoying it. I just don't remember a lot about the game itself. I believe it's based on the second movie, so if you've seen Godfather 2, you probably know what happens in the game. But I think because I don't remember struggling on anything, I think I'll put it in kids game. But I do remember liking it, so I'll stick it above Life is Strange Before the Storm. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. The Artful Escape. I absolutely hated this game. Like, I got so tired of this game's shtick. I'm not going to say it's a freebie, but it's a pretty easy completion. There are only like 2 missable achievements in the game. Everything else you get just from playing the game. Yeah, I got so tired of the visuals, the music in the game, like the writing, just everything about it irked me to no end. Yeah. Do not recommend The Artful Escape. Harm's Way. I do remember this being one of those easy, like I said, the Doritos games. It's an easy completion. I'm going to stick it in freebie. It is a racing game. It's like one of those car combat games. So I'll put it right behind Dash of Destruction. But I don't remember anything else about it. Tinykin is Xbox's answer to Pikmin, and I really enjoyed this game. It came out around the same time as Beacon Pines. Another game that not a lot of people talk about, but it was really good. I'll put it there. The hardest achievement is getting all of the Tinykin in every level, just because you can follow a guide and it'll show you like where all the Tinykin are, but it's easy to lose track. It is still a pretty easy full completion, but it's just easy to like miss like a bundle of Tinykin, because that's what I ended up doing. And like I had to go systematically through every level, following a video guide, trying to find like the few Tinykin I missed. But that's definitely the hardest part, is getting all of the Tinykin. Now, see, I cannot remember what like this is. I know it's like a NASA space game. It's like an info game. I just don't remember what the acronym here stands for. I'm going to say Space Science Investigations and then Humans in Space. That's the only part of that I can actually read. But yeah, this is a freebie. It's actually pretty good. It's interesting to learn about like space and stuff, but I think it might actually be free on Xbox. It's either free or like 99 cents. I cannot remember. But Maca91 posted a guide for this. So if you follow the guide to a T, you'll get everything. But it's still pretty easy to get all the achievements without following a guide. So there's that. Life is Strange is going right there. And I've doubled up on this one, so I don't know which one of these is which. This is the special edition, so this is the Xbox One version. This one's 360 and this one's Xbox One. But again, like I said, you get most of the achievements for playing the game. It is my favorite Life is Strange because this one actually deals with time travel, and that's probably my favorite like piece of sci-fi. But yeah, the only thing that's missable are the collectibles. Again, follow a guide and you'll get all of them. The Letter is a freebie. It's a visual novel, so you get pretty much all of the achievements just for reading, and it sucks because I was like thoroughly invested within like the first quarter of this game, and then at a certain point I was just like, all right, I'm tired of reading, this character is not interesting, and I just like fast forwarded through the whole thing. But yeah, it's a pretty easy full completion. What Remains of Edith Finch? I'll put this easy, but it is a really good... It's one of those, like, quote-unquote walking simulators, but it's really not because there's actual gameplay to it. But it is, like, one of the best just, like, story games. You're going through Edith Finch's house and just learning about her family, and each little story has its own gameplay. Like, it changes. Sometimes it'll change the visuals and it'll be a different kind of game. What Remains of Edith Finch is a fantastic game. It's a pretty simple full completion. You don't have to follow a guide. You can look at the achievements and figure out what you need to do that way. I did end up missing 2 achievements my first playthrough. One is to like take a separate path to Edith Finch's house, and another one is to do, I think, 2 loops on the swing set. So I just had to play through the game again and do that. But everything else I got my first playthrough without following a guide. So yeah, it's a good game. Easy completion. Tacoma is the same thing. I do not like it as much as Edith Finch, but it's a pretty decent... This one I would classify as more of a walking simulator. There are other things you can do. Yeah, you know what? It's going to go way back here. There are other things you can do. Like, there's an achievement, I think, to play basketball or something. But everything else is just, like, obtained through dialogue. There are a few collectibles in the game that you got to get. But I don't think I used a guide for it. I think there's one achievement, like, to get 2 Roombas together. I think I used a guide for that bit. There's, like, a female Roomba and a male Roomba, and you've got to do something to get them to meet up to get an achievement. And I think that's the only time I used a guide. Everything else is pretty much straightforward. The Walking Dead Michonne, Telltale game, easy completion. I think this is like where Telltale started going downhill. I'm going to put it way back here. But yeah, just playing the game, you get all the achievements. Townscaper is a pretty interesting, like, concept for a game. It's pretty much a freebie. Well, you know what? I'll put it kids game. And I'll stick it there. So Townscaper, it's just a grid is what the game is. And you, like, will place down houses, which is weird for me to have enjoyed because it's like a crafting thing. You place down houses on this grid, and the way you configure the houses changes the layout of this little town you're building. So if you, like, stack, so you put 2 houses next to each other with a space in between them, and then put a house, like, on top of the other one, or say, so you put 2 houses down, and then you put a house and then stack another one on top of that and delete that lower house, you'll create a hook, and that's one of the achievements. Or if you stack 4 houses on top of each other, you'll create a spire, and it's stuff like that. If you put houses in a ring, you create a garden. Those are the way you pop achievements, but that's also the game itself, is just doing, like, creating this town by doing that. And I thought it was a pretty novel concept for a game, and it was a pretty enjoyable full completion. So, it used to be on Game Pass. I don't know if it still is, but if you need, like, if you're wanting to go for a full completion and you want, like, just a decent game, Townscaper is pretty good. Avatar, The Last Airbender, The Burning Earth is the, like, most well-known easy full completion. You can complete this game in 5 minutes. And because of that, I'm going to put it, like, as least enjoyed, because I didn't even really play the game. This was on sale, $4.99 on the Series X. It's also backwards compatible, so you don't have to buy a physical copy of this. But yeah, during the training, you stand in a puddle and just throw water at people, and there's only 5 achievements in the game. You get all of the achievements just within 5 minutes. I think No Thing is my fastest full. No, the game. There's another game that's my fastest, but Avatar: The Last Airbender is a close contender. Forza Horizon 2 presents Fast and the Furious. Or Fast and Furious, sorry. Fast and the Furious is the first movie. This one's easy. Let's see. How much did I enjoy it? Probably less than WALL-E. This is another one I doubled up on. The 360 version and the Xbox One version. This is like just an advertisement that came out at the same time as Forza Horizon 2 did. The Fast and Furious movie was coming out. I believe that's the 4th movie. Yeah, and it's a pretty easy full completion. You get it just from paying or playing the little DLC thing. It has since been delisted. I originally downloaded the Xbox 360 version. That was the first way I got all these achievements. My brother, however, downloaded the Xbox One. So I logged into his account, downloaded it to my Xbox, and got another free 1,000 gamer score. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, simple full completion. If you like Forza Horizon, you'll be able to get that with no trouble at all. Alan Wake. I'm going to put into challenging. And I like it better than Bloodstained. Alan Wake is another one of my favorite games. It's challenging just because you have to play it on Nightmare. There are a few like speedrun achievements you've got to get in certain levels. Collectibles. There are difficulty specific collectibles that you have to get. And yeah, it's not the hardest full completion, but it'll give you some trouble. Hence the challenging. Callisto Protocol is hard just because of the hell is it called? Contagion mode, which is a semi-permadeath mode. So with the Contagion mode, you get 2 achievements. One is to beat the game on Contagion mode, and the other one is to beat the game on Contagion mode without dying. Contagion mode, if you die, you restart the entire chapter. The way I got around this, and you can consider it cheating, but let me explain. I have an achievement hunters on this one as well. So what you do is you start the chapter online. Once the chapter loads up, go offline, and if you happen to die in that level, go to My Games and Apps, delete your local save, and then it'll close the game out for you. Go back online, launch the game. You can start the thing over, start the chapter over, and it wouldn't have saved your death. Because it'll download the cloud save, and the cloud save only knows before you died. Because once you die, it immediately saves. So if you're online, it's saved and you got to start all over. I will say, my first attempt at this was also like my 5th time playing the game by this point. My first attempt at this, I made it all the way to the final chapter before I died. So take that for what you will. But I did end up having to utilize that method. But you can watch that in Achievement Hunters if you are curious. I also have an Achievement Hunters for Forza Motorsport. This one is also a hard completion, and I said it in my title of the video, it's a very skill-intensive full completion. Like, you have to get pretty good at Forza Motorsport to get a few of the achievements. The one I struggle with the most is pole position, which is to get the best lap time in a qualifying lap. And I think the reason I struggled with this is because at launch, there were a lot of people cheating. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I was able to get it at launch, but later I heard that people were posting impossible lap times and that the developers had to patch that out. I don't know if that's what I was running into when I was doing it, but people were posting pretty, like, insane lap times while I was trying for this. But I was able to get it. If you would like to see the full thing on that, you can watch the Achievement Hunt Tours. But it was it's definitely one of my proudest full completions. It's like the only one I've legitimately got all of the achievements. Well, that and like BioShock 2, Forza Horizon 5. I like actually played the online and got them, as opposed to like Legendary where I boosted it. So, The Walking Dead Season 3, again, Telltale. Skate. This is this is my first full completion I ever got, and I don't remember doing it. Like, this was at the time where I didn't even notice achievements. I had just gotten the 360. I got Skate and Rockman 2 for Christmas. And I just played the game and got all of the achievements and didn't even know. The only way I found out I got all the achievements is when I actually started achievement hunting and noticed I already had all of them for this. So I really don't know where to put it. But I love Skate. I'm going to say it's easier than Skate 3. Where did I stick Skate 3? Here, and challenging. I don't think it's that hard. I'm going to put it in easy, and I do like Skate. It's not my favorite in the Skate series, but I don't have all of them for Skate 2, so that's not going to be on this list. I'll stick it here ahead of Tinykin. But yeah, I got all of the online achievements, and like, I don't know, I was just playing Skate. It's like crazy to think that there was a time where I didn't even notice achievements and just got all of them playing the game. That's just insane to me. Wanted Dead. So when I first started playing this, before they've like updated it with some quality of life fixes, I'm gonna still stick it up here. I actually like it less than Callisto Protocol. But Wanted Dead's a pretty hard completion, and it was made more difficult for me because I got every other achievement except the last achievement to unlock all achievements. And something happened with my save. I discovered that the only way for me to get it to pop was to basically play through all of the game again and do the tasks as if I was going to get an achievement. So I had to play through the game another 3 times, had to get all the collectibles, had to, get all the kills and headshots and all of that stuff again in order to get the final achievement to pop. I also have an Achievement Hunters on that. But yeah, it was, I enjoyed Wanted Dead. If I didn't enjoy it, I would not have struggled as hard as I did. If you've seen the Call of Duty Classic video, you know I gave up on Wet. So I believe the amount of time I struggled with Wanted Dead is what made me realize if I'm not really enjoying the game, there's no sense in putting myself through that. I did enjoy Wanted Dead to a certain extent. It was frustrating, but once I got the hang of it, it wasn't too bad. But that issue with the final achievement really peeved me off. So, Road 96. I'm going to put this in easy, and it'll go, no, ahead of Bully. This one's a pretty easy full completion. It's also a really good game. It's kind of like a roguelike. Your objective is to travel Road 96 and get out of this country. There's like some bad stuff happening, like World War III starting level of stuff. And your objective is you play as like different kids trying to get out of this country. And a lot of the achievements are really easy. I think I got all of them without following a guide. I had to play like an extra playthrough and get a few cassettes I missed, but there isn't a specific location for a cassette. You just have to find the number of them that the game wants you to. And yeah, that's it. There were just a few like instances I didn't do, and I didn't search for a cassette, so that was the only way I missed. I think like 2 of them. But yeah, it's a pretty easy full completion. The Invisible Hours, I'm going to put that in kids game. Just because, like, I liked the Invisible Hours. Let's see, where would I stick it? I'll put it here. It's another, like, sort of investigative game, but you're not really doing anything. The main thing of the game is, so these group of people are at Nikola Tesla's house. Nikola Tesla turns up dead, and this guy here, I can't remember his name, but his shtick is he's the greatest detective, so good they named him twice. His first name is his last name. But he's trying to figure out who did it. But your role in this is just some invisible entity, and you're just following these people around. And what you can do is it's split up into 3 sections over the same night. I think like 6 hours in 3 different sections. So a like 24-hour period. Like a full day is what you're doing. But what you do is you'll follow one person around, and then you can rewind and go to another person and see what they're doing that in that particular moment. And you kind of solve it along with the detective, which you're actually the only one to solve it because the detective doesn't figure it out. You do. Because you have the ability to follow everyone around. He can't be everywhere at once, so he doesn't have all the clues. But that's the main thing of the game. And you get the achievements from like witnessing certain characters do certain things. The only real missable is getting the true ending of the game. And for that, I had to use a guide. You have to put, I think it's called a spirit box. You have to put Tesla's spirit box. You have to turn it on at moments when someone dies, and that's how you get the good ending. So you just have to know when someone dies, and you have to know that you have the ability to turn that thing on. But yeah. All right, we're getting down to the wire here. Slayers, I can't remember the full name. It's like Slayers X Vengeance Aftermath of the Slayer or something like that. I don't know. This is one of those it's like, so if you've played Hypnospace Outlaw, this character in this game is a person in that game. And basically what this game is that person making a mod for Duke Nukem 3D. And that's what you're playing here, is his Duke Nukem 3D mod. It's crazy. It's a pretty good game. It's a first-person shooter, one of those boomer shooters that people like to call it now. I believe I was like the 100 or like the 80th. I was a pretty, considerably low number of the completions for this. It's kind of challenging. I would say I like it better than Call of Duty Classic. You have to play it on hard. It is like an old school first-person shooter, so it's kind of unforgiving, but a pretty easy completion. There are a few things that you have to follow a guide for, but the most challenging part is just beating the game on hard. All right, the Lego Movie. Where do I got the other Lego games? In easy or kids game? I actually enjoyed the Lego Movie game. I liked the Lego Movie, but I like how it's Lego Movie, the video game. They had to put Lego on there twice. But yeah, it's Lego. So if you've played these other Lego games, I put Lego Batman 2 down here. I think because of the DLC, Lego Batman 3 is up there. Anyway, the Bureau XCOM Declassified. I'm going to put in challenging. Yeah, I'll stick it above Alien Hominid. The hardest part about Declassified is beating the game on hard without any of your squad mates dying. And the reason for that being is that on hard, your squad mates are just absolutely useless. They immediately run out and get down, and you're just left to fight the entire fight by yourself. So as long as you go up and stop them from bleeding out. I think a few characters have the ability to revive someone, so you can do that as well. But towards the end of the game, the moment you revive someone, and then those characters also start going down, your actual healers. Like the later stages of the game, it's basically useless to revive anyone because they're immediately down again. But that's the hardest part, and probably the most frustrating. I can see people thoroughly enjoying the Bureau XCOM Declassified, not going for the full completion. I still liked it. This does also have DLC. It's backwards compatible, so you can download the DLC on the Series X once the 360 store shut down. But yeah, I liked the Bureau XCOM Declassified. And lastly, for my 100 full completions, you'll notice this here. I tried searching this on Google, and these are the only images I got. This is Peepaw's Farm. It's another one of those pay for gamer score games. Literally, one of the achievements is to get all of the achievements in 5 minutes. So you can get every single achievement in this game in 5 minutes, as long as you follow a guide. But it's a freebie. It's nothing. It's a nothing thing. There is actual stuff to do, but it is a game strictly made to give you free gamer score. And that is the only reason the developer made it. So that's my list. Yeah. I really don't know where I'm going to go from here. I am going to continue to do the Achievement Hunt Tours series. I like achievements. I do want to do some more PlayStation stuff. I've only got like 10 full completions on PlayStation. I've only got 10 platinum trophies. So, kind of want to boost those numbers up a little bit as well. But I love achievements. And if you love achievements too, consider subscribing, because I do achievement hunting videos. It's kind of the main thing I do here. So if that's something you would like to see, subscribe and check out the next one. If you liked this video, leave a like. If there are any games you think I should go for the full completion in, leave them in the comments down below. But other than that, check back next time for whatever I do. Bye-bye.